All right. Are we live? I think we're live. Awesome. Yeah, we're live. Wonderful. All right, excellent. So welcome everybody. Yeah, hopefully you know the drill by now. All right. Don't have any actual work today. I'm not working on any soundtracks today or doing anything like that. Um, I'm just taking a little bit of a day off for myself. I figure we have some fun, write some cool stuff, come up with something to see what I feel inspired to write today, if anything at all. But yeah, so along the way, as I just kind of work on something random, if you have questions, toss them in the comments. Let me know. I'm still working with my laptop, so I've got like a screen down here and a screen up here. So my PC is back. I just haven't gotten it set up. I got it back today. So it's not done being set up. And so I ran out of time, so now I'm just working on my laptop, but it's working. So we're good. I did some extra troubleshooting ahead of the time to make sure that it would work. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna get started writing some music. I'm thinking something. Let's see here. So I was thinking, let's do something. Oop, gotta pull that onto this screen over here. I was thinking about something a little bit slower, a little bit darker, maybe a bit of a. Let's do. And then, so we'll do something different. Let's try it. Vincent, welcome, my friend. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. All right, so let's voice lead this real quick. All I did to make this chord progression is I used something called sentence structure, which is typically something that gets used for, it typically gets used for, where are we going? Why is this not, here we go. It typically gets used for like writing melodies, but I have found it works incredibly well for writing chord progressions as well, and being just applied to all different kinds of ideas. So I'm color coding everything right now to give you an idea of the general shape of this structure. Sentence structure says start off with a simple idea, then repeat that same basic idea with a little bit of variation. Here you can see I want A minor to G major. Then I want A minor to E minor. The reason why this is the same idea but with a little bit of variation is you can see there's only one note difference between G major and E minor. Still have G, still have B, it's just D. G, B, E. So same basic idea in terms of tones being used. So there's a little bit of liberties you can take here. I just double checked Vincent. You can hear me, right? All right, I know Vincent's on the stream at least because you've commented. Can you hear me? Can you hear the piano too? That's probably important. Wow, that's loud. Let's pull that down a bit. Uh-oh. There we go. Oh, awesome. Wonderful. So you can hear me. All right, so I use sentence structure, like I said. Started with an idea, came up with the same basic idea, just a little bit of change. In this case, I changed one note to give me a different chord. Then sentence structure says come up with a completely new idea. So here, instead of going A minor, G major, or anything like that, I said, hey, let's just do two other completely different chords, D minor and C major, both of which come from also the key of A minor. And then sentence structure says end with a cadence. And here I just used a simple authentic cadence for the minor key, which is an E major to an A minor. Now, if you want to learn more about this, this is something we could definitely talk about in today's stream. So let me know in the comments if you want to talk more about harmony. But something else you can do is open up Google, go to tabletopcomposer.com, and check out my free academy, where I have a completely free class on harmony. I also have one on melody writing and 2 on orchestration. One that's about instrumentation and one that's on arranging techniques. 100% free classes. If you're looking for something a bit more, these are pretty well structured, but if you want something more structured for storytelling with music, my textbook, I forgot to stop the sale again because I'm lazy. Textbooks are available. I've got lots of cool ebooks. You can get them in ebook version on this website. You can also find them on Amazon. I also have physical copies on Amazon. I just actually had a really cool lesson the other day with a student of mine who's in the UK. And it was our first lesson, and he pulled out my textbook. And it was really, really cool just seeing someone in the UK who has a physical copy of something I wrote. You can find the copies by clicking on the Amazon click here. You can also find the table of contents, which is right here. I think it's like a 20-page table of contents that covers 13, so not quite 20. But 13 pages of literally just listing all the stuff you'll learn. All of it taught through the lens of how you apply music theory to help tell stories with your music. So I don't want to just keep going. You can see lots of cool reviews here. I don't want to keep just doing an advertisement. Let's see here. Vincent, good. I reworked one of my older songs with new Woodwind VSTs, automations, and mixing, and it made a huge jump in quality. Turned into one of my favorite songs, even though it's quite simple. That's awesome, dude. Congrats. That's wonderful. Oh, nice. So you also like sentence structure and period structure for harmony as well. Yes, there are a lot of different little patterns in music. So sentence structure is one of the most common patterns, and we'll use it to write a melody as well here in a second. But it's very common because you can think of it as the grammar of music. Just because when you speak English, you follow the same grammatical syntax doesn't mean you're stating the same exact things as everything else. So these patterns like sentence structure, period structure, even sequencing structure are all kind of like musical grammar that can be applied to all different kinds of things. You can apply it to write chord progressions, you can apply it to write melodies, and you can even apply it to write full-length pieces of music. Something that I'm hoping to do today using just sentence structure. So I kind of like this sound. I want to zhuzh it up a little bit though. Let's try adding a suspended chord here. Let's do... What happens if we do A sus2? I don't like that. I feel like it moves too quickly. What if we moved it early just a little bit? Let's chop these up. Not sure I'm liking this. And it's okay. We tried. Let's try moving this over a little bit. Let's try this. No, let's try... What if we did a G sus chord? I kind of want to use a suspended chord, but I'm not going to force it if it's not working. I do like that. So I like that. Let's move the A up. I kind of like the idea of moving that. Nah. What if we did an A sus2? And maybe I won't with it. Right now I'm just kind of playing around, seeing what I like. No, I feel like that makes it too busy. So I should probably explain myself. So a suspended chord is a chord where you take the third, which is the middle note of your chord in its root position, and you replace it with either the second or the fourth. All right, so G major. We build a G major chord by adding G. We skip the second note in our scale, which would be A, and we add the third note of our scale, which would be B. Then we skip the fourth, which would be C. and we add the 5th, which is D, which is why you'll occasionally see chord tones called the 1st, 3rd, and 5th instead of 1, 2, and 3. Now to create a sus chord, you can take this 3, you can mute it, and get rid of it, and then either put in the 4, which gives us a sus 4, or you can put in that 2 that we skipped earlier to create a sus 2 chord. They're beautiful little tense sounds. Like I love the sound of a good sus chord. Now the reason why I'm playing around with these is these work really well in melodramatic dark songs, something a bit like a requiem. And they're particularly useful when you are moving from one chord to another where they don't share any tones in common. So A, C, E, those are the notes in A minor. G, B, D, these are the notes in G major. There's no overlap. They don't share any common tones. It's not like A minor to E minor where they both contain E. So I can kind of force them to have a little bit of a bridge in between by using a sus chord. Because G sus 4, where I removed the 3rd and added the 4th, has a C in common with A minor. And that's just a little fun thing you can do. Anytime you have two chords that don't have any notes in common, you can just say, hey, let's stretch this out, create a sus chord, and create a nice little bit of movement there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use this one over here. So this is a C major, so we're actually doing... So this technically wouldn't be a sus chord, but it's the same basic principle because this isn't root position. This would be a E, G, B, C, D. So it'd be a E minor 7 chord without the 5. But you don't need to really worry about that too much unless you want to learn more about it, in which case, tell me, because right now I don't mind doing lessons. I'm just focusing a little bit right now on just writing because the comment section is nice and quiet today. And since I start building movement, let's keep the movement going here. By adding the D, because this could be an E major 7. E major, and then if I just remove the 5th and replace it with the 7th, it's an E dominant 7. Again, if you want to learn more, let me know. Or if you're getting stuck or confused by something I say, let me know. I'd be happy to talk about this stuff. But in the meantime, I'm just going to shut up and keep writing. Excellent. So now let's create our melody, shall we? Let's see here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 2 notes from each underlying chord. All right, so the sentence structure, we have our idea, right? Our idea then needs to be repeated with a little bit of variation. And in this case, the variation, I'm going to change some notes to make sure that I am staying within the chord. Let's lower the velocity a little bit because it's a little harsh. Uh-oh. So then we also know that sentence structure then says we need to come up with a completely new idea. So instead of going 1, up, down, down, let's do... we need a C. So now we've got a basic shape for our melody. All I did is I took 2 notes from the underlying chords All right, each of these notes were taken from the underlying chords. As you can see, C and E are from A minor, D and B come from G major, and so on and so forth. So now I've created a very simple shape to my melody. Again, following the very simple grammatical pattern of sentence structure. So now we're going to add a little bit of rhythm to this, shall we? Let's do eighth notes. Let's see how this sounds. All right, hold up. No, I don't like that one bit. In fact, I don't like how this repeats too much. So instead of this, I don't like the C. I don't like starting with C natural on both. So let's take this and let's drop it. So same basic idea. We're still staying with our chords. We've just changed the pitch a little bit. I like that much, much more. And for whatever reason, I like the idea of having a pulsing bass line, shall we? Let's do A. Let's do G. All I'm doing is I'm adding the roots of each chord. I'm taking the note that each chord is named after and putting it in the bass. This would be an E. And then let's bring the velocity down a little bit. And I just want like pulsing eighth notes is what I have envisioned. So I'm hitting the Alt button on my keyboard and I'm clicking with the cutting tool to just automatically cut everything. No, don't like that. What if I do quarter notes instead? Get a sense of time going by. Let's see here. Vincent, I actually still sometimes struggle with finding a rhythm. Finding something that is not boring, but doesn't feel random. Ooh, very good question. So, the idea of something that doesn't feel random, especially if you think about melody, the trick, it can technically be random, depending on how much effort you want to put into it. But the trick is to just have some sense of pattern. It doesn't have to be sentence structure. It doesn't have to be period structure, any other kind of structure. It can be completely original. But the idea is that patterns are what make music instead of noise. And that's from the standpoint of the science of acoustics. All right, so what separates noise from pitch is a pattern in the sound waves. And it continues all the way up to music, that we recognize rhythm. Rhythm, by definition, is a repeating pattern. You can look it up. The definition specifically states that there is a repeating pattern. That's what makes rhythm. An arrhythmic idea is one that lacks a repeating pattern. So interesting rhythms it's not so much about the minuscule little idea. like the one bar idea. It's about what you do with the idea and what pattern you use, and more importantly, how you kind of go against the pattern at times. That's one of the nice things about period structure and sentence structure is they have that built-in variation. You have an idea, you repeat your idea, a little bit of different, completely new idea, and then you end it. All right, and that becomes a complete musical sentence. Let me see how this sounds first real quick. All right, I like this. I have another idea. Let's copy and paste, drop an octave. Glue these together. Oops, I just realized I was on autopilot. There we go. I don't want the top line getting glued together, just the bottom. Let's swap this to G. And we'll drop this an octave. And then we'll come back to our melody and make it more interesting. We'll look at some ideas for rhythms, Vincent. That's good tea. All right. Don't really like the ending, but it's okay because we're going to be addressing it in a second. Let's take a look at our melody, shall we? Motif number 1. I like the idea of having a slow moving motif. Let's see how this sounds. Let's see a little syncopation. Don't like that. Let's have that. Okay, so Vincent, what I'm doing here, I should probably explain myself a little bit. So again, rhythms are simply just repeating patterns, all right? So anytime you have a grammatical structure like sentence structure that helps guide your pattern, it's going to have a little bit of a heads up, not a heads up, a little bit of a advantage at just sounding musical. Other than that, we want to look at the very bare bones, all right? So I'm going to give you a couple tips for creating a rhythmic motif. Tips for creating a rhythmic motif. All right. If you want higher energy, use shorter note values. All right, and vice versa. That one's pretty obvious. If you want a motif that builds energy, use shorter values at the end of the motif than the beginning. All right, so I've demonstrated this on a couple live streams, but listening to just this one idea, let's mute everything else. All right, that little short note at the very end has lots of energy. It wants to go somewhere. If we were to just mute that, oops, wrong button, and just lengthen this a little bit. It doesn't have nearly as much pull. Hopefully this is sounding the way it should. Let's listen to it as part of a full motif. So having this little F, this short little note value, helps add a bit more energy pulling us into measure 2 because it's a shorter note value at the very end of a measure than it would if we didn't have it. All right, so now if I mute it and lengthen this, you're going to notice there's a little less momentum, a little less urgency. It seems a little more sluggish, a little slower, which isn't a bad thing. It just depends on what you're looking for. Let's see here. Where was my notepad? Ah, yes. So then, what's the word? Syncopation is very useful for adding interesting color / personality. All right, now syncopation is simply when you don't hit a downbeat. All right, so in comparison, for a quarter note, the downbeats for a quarter note, everything in music tends to follow a strong, weak pattern. So beat 1 is strong, beat 2 is weak. Beat 3 is strong, beat 4 is weak. If you're in a 3/4 time, it goes strong, weak, weak. So beat 1 is strong, then 2 and 3 are both weak. Beat 1 is strong again, etc., etc. So at a quarter note level, by ignoring beat 1 and starting on beat 2, which is comparatively weaker, it gives us a bit more of a offbeat feeling, a little more personality. Versus if we started right on beat 1. Does that make sense? I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can help with rhythm-wise. I've done a lot of live streams where I've come prepared with like lesson plans to discuss rhythm in more depth. But honestly, if you're trying to come up with just an interesting rhythmic motif, don't beat yourself over the head. All right? This is something I was teaching a student relatively recently. Is motifs are awesome. Motifs are wonderful, and they're very, very important. You should try to be deliberate with the decisions you're making. If you want to learn more about how to write a strong motif, let me pull up Google. Look up Tabletop Composer motif. Developing motifs, how to write a good motif. I got a good blog post you can watch. And then this one right here, Melody for Composers, Part 1, How to Write a Strong Motif. This is a good video. This is a good blog post. Just look this stuff up. I've got lots of really cool material out there that goes in depth on how to write a very strong motif. But the end goal, the end point, is that your motif itself isn't as important as the ideas you create with it, about the ways you develop it. You think about simple motifs like with Beethoven's Fifth. Bum, 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 bum. That's a ridiculously short idea. It's not particularly interesting, but what makes it interesting is the things that Beethoven does with it and how he creates an entire symphony. Oops, sorry, I bumped my charger cable. How he built an entire symphony and multiple movements and multiple themes based off that one simple little motif. All right, and again, I have resources about developing motifs that you can find too. Oh, lots of comments I've been missing. Sorry about that. Hey, welcome, 7 Tears of Hope. Glad to have you. Welcome. Awesome. Vincent says, I enjoy the more freestyle streams, honestly. Thank you. I'm enjoying them too. They're a lot less pressure on me. I just get to show up and have fun. Sudhavana Bahat. I apologize for butchering the pronunciation of your name. Hello, everybody. Tabletop Composer, could you give a bit more information about your course on the Indie Composer website? Oh, yes, of course. I would love to. So, what Sudhanva is asking, film music contest. If you look up Indie Film Music Contest, and you go to their website, you're going to find a new Intro to Film Scoring course. This class is built by, who built it? Who made it? Aha! Me! Wonderful. So this is a partnership between me and the Indie Film Music Contest. It's a new class developed for film composers. The idea behind this is it gives you a workflow and a strategy for scoring films. I believe it's a 7-step process, if I'm remembering correctly, that I put together, where it's like, all right, you've got a new film score. You've got a new film that you need to score. how do you get rid of writer's block? How do you get rid of all the intimidation? How do you actually start? And it goes, all right, step one, here's the very first thing you need to do. You need to create a one-sentence summary of your film. Here's why, here's how you do it, and here's how it's going to apply to the rest of the film. And it follows all the way through spotting processes, through creating themes that portray characters and such. And the focus, if you'll notice on the website, it says it's not on music theory, it's on score theory. Score theory is a term that a lot of our beta testers described the class as. Score theory, the basic idea behind it is we're not going to focus on how do you do like a substitute dominant chord, which is a really cool music theory thing, but it's really more about meeting you at your level. The assumption is that everyone who does the indie film music contest has at least some idea of how to write music. You might not have like be the best at it, but you can at least sit down and come up with a melody of some sort, right? So the focus isn't so much on teaching you a lot of music theory. It's about saying, hey, whatever skill level you are with music, here's how you can apply that skill level to writing film scores. Here are the things that film composers need to consider to help tell a story. Here's how you know what kind of themes you need to write. Here's how you write a theme that does fit that character. Here's how you figure out where to use that theme and how that theme needs to change and grow to match the character's development and stuff like that. The idea behind this class is that there's a lot of really, really cool courses already available by people like Master the Score or Evident, where they offer you really, really cool stuff about music theory, where they teach you how to write a really cool melody. They teach you how to write a really cool chord progression and how to write for orchestra, how to mix your music. But there really isn't a lot of information out there that teaches you how to apply those skills to telling a story. There aren't a lot of resources that help you apply those skills specifically to a film, like figuring out which hit points you need to sync your music to, how to make sure that you've got the right rhythm for a particular scene, how to make sure that you write a theme that can fit multiple scenes and follow a character as they grow, stuff like that. So this class is really about taking you at whatever level you happen to be at, whatever skill level you happen to possess for composing, and creating a workflow and a series of worksheets that you can follow and use and apply to any project that you work on so that you never have to stop and think, all right, what's my next step? You always know exactly, all right, I did this, and this. By the time you're done, boom, all right, I've got my film score. I've got my soundtrack. It works. It tracks the story, and it's going to make the director very, very happy. So I worked on this class for about a year. I can actually show you the curriculum for it. Let me see this. Because this is the nice thing about having these live streams is I can show y'all little stuff. Where is it? Oh yeah, here we go. IFMC Intro to Film Scoring. So this is the curriculum. All right, so you can see terminal objectives. These are the skills I want all of my students to have by the end of this class. You're going to learn how to start new film projects by setting up safeguards against overanalysis to make sure that you're not scoring the wrong things or looking too deeply into the story. You're going to know how to identify and sketch themes for important characters, locations, and literary ideas. You're going to learn how to create a scene list that helps you plan and track the use of each of your themes throughout the entire film. And you're going to learn how to use all the sketches that you create of your themes to make a soundtrack that matches the flow of the film and that marks important hit points in each scene. You can see Module 1 is all about kind of the basis of the class, getting started, film composers and storytellers. Module 2 is about big picture thinking, like starting a big project. So starting off by creating your one-sentence summary. Step 3, recording your first impressions, your initial instincts about the film, what to look for, what things should you consider. Then you can see that there are worksheets that include actual steps you can follow so you can actually follow along. I included an example with a film that is included with the class where you can follow along and see how I apply all of this workflow. Then module 3 is more about actually composing. So again, plans for how to create themes, motifs, and sound palettes. What are they? What scenes are they typically used in? Tips and strategies for actually sketching ideas. Again, more worksheets, more additional material that you can use to continue your learning. Planning your soundtrack is creating the scene list, using the scene list to track the needs of your film. Again, more additional material and like PDFs, printed worksheets, stuff like that. Then the spotting process, parts 1, parts 2, and then step 9, actually scoring your scenes. And then module 6 is about exporting your material, setting it to the film, and submitting it to the Indie Film Music Contest. The really cool thing is you get access to films with this class, so not only do you get to learn the theory behind it, but you get to actually watch me apply it to a film and write a sketch for a soundtrack to a short film, as well as you get to try it yourself with 3 different short films you can get access to by signing up for the competition. Okay, wow, yeah, that was a advertisement I wasn't expecting to do. Sudhanva, I hope that answers your questions. 7 Tears of Hope, the Minimalist. I watched a lot of your videos, never catch a live stream due to time zones. Oh, well, welcome to your first live stream. I'm glad you could make it. Ad Hoc, welcome Ad Hoc. Sudhanva, thank you very much. Appreciate the depth of information. My pleasure, my friend. I am happy to help. So let's get back to this piece, shall we? Again, you guys should know, if you got questions, let me know. Pop them in the I'm just writing something random. I'm happy to answer any questions about music theory, film composing, my books, videos, whatever. Welcome, Vitor. Welcome. This is Sudhanva's very first live stream. So thank you. Welcome, people. Welcome. New faces. That's exciting. Don't forget to like the stream. That does wonders for the algorithm. Your comments are wonderfully and hugely appreciated. YouTube loves it when I get lots of comments on my streams. YouTube also likes it when I get lots of likes. And if you can do me a favor, also click that share button and copy the link. You don't actually have to post it anywhere. YouTube just likes to see when people think, oh, this is really cool, and then they share it. So let's see here. Let's listen to this real quick again, so I can get the idea in my head again. Let's try that. Let's turn these into 16th notes. I also don't like the way that E sounds, so we're going to change that. Let's listen one more time, see if there's anything I want to change. What if I do a suspension where I kind of hold it over? All right, I think that kind of works. Not my favorite melody I've ever written, but it works, right? Let's see if we can pull this into a full-length thing. First, let's see here. This is also my first. Welcome. 7 Tears of Hope. Would you say using more complicated harmonies make better scores? I would disagree. I'd say it can. I would say the most creatively appropriate harmonies make for the best scores. So, for example, you have some scores like John Williams where they are incredibly intricate. Then you have other scores where they're incredibly simple and minimalistic. like Interstellar. Interstellar is an incredibly minimalistic score, and yet no one would argue, at least no one who knows what they're talking about, would argue that it isn't one of the most masterful soundtracks out there. It's all about understanding your story. One thing that a lot of beginning film composers don't seem to understand is that film composers are actually storytellers. That's your primary job. If you want to write really cool music that's just kind of brilliant and awesome for stuff, good for you. That's awesome. That's amazing. Go do concert music. Go do songs. Go do whatever you'd like, but don't do film music. Film music, the priority is storytelling. All right? You, as a film composer, are a storyteller. You just happen to tell stories with music. So if the story you are trying to tell calls for incredibly intricate, complicated harmony, that's amazing. That's awesome. That's super exciting, right? But if it doesn't, and you try to force that in there just for some intellectual need, some kind of desire to seem intelligent and smart and super clever as a composer, you're just gonna come off as inept. Because again, in film composing, the number one priority is that your music tells the story. Your character themes need to embody those characters. The Imperial March really embodies like Darth Vader, right? Those two, they're inseparable. The Shire theme really brings the Hobbit's world to life, right? All of these iconic themes work because they prioritize the story and portraying those characters and ideas together. Now, again, if you want a deeper dive into this, if you want to learn more about this, tabletop composer, character themes. I actually have like a lecture, this one right here, how to compose impactful character themes, that breaks down basically my approach to how do I write a theme that I think perfectly encaptures a specific character. This is kind of what I get work for. Most of my soundtracks that I get because of word of mouth. I work with one playwright who tells another, hey, this guy's really good. He really brings my characters to life. And they tell the director and she tells someone. And then a lot of my jobs are, again, word of mouth because people really like that I am very good at, one, bringing characters to life with my music, and two, really good at bringing emotions to life with my music. And all of it starts by figuring out what's necessary, what's needed by that character, what's needed by that emotion. Now, if you want to learn basically my workflow for every aspect of composing, I would check out The Musical Storyteller. This textbook is entirely about this. It's a textbook about composing and music theory, and all of it is put through the lens of how can you tell stories with music theory. Again, if you want physical copies, it's a 400-page book. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on my website. It's currently on sale for the holidays. If you want to go find it on Amazon, go to my website, and it's got the link right there. If you want to see what's in there, check on this. It's designed like a correspondence course, meaning that every chapter builds into the very next chapter. They're all sequential. They all help build into the next and help build this really cool thing. But the entire lens, what makes this book unique, is that it's all about using music theory and composition to tell stories. So yeah, I wouldn't say, so all of that being a super roundabout way to say, I wouldn't necessarily say complicated harmony makes a score better. I would say if complicated harmony makes sense for the story, then it's going to make the soundtrack better. But sometimes a very simple, intimate idea just needs a very simple, intimate musical idea, right? Hopefully that makes sense. And of course, you're welcome to say I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about and disagree with me. That's fine. Every composer is different. Vitor, sorry if I'm too off topic, but I'm trying to learn music theory by myself, and I'm a bit stuck as to finding ways to applying the basics of theory to a keyboard. Would anyone have suggestions? Yes, my friend. I have a wonderful suggestion. Not only do I have this awesome textbook you can check out, but if times are tight, I have certainly been through tight times. I have 4 free classes. So Music Theory and Harmony 1, Music Theory and Melody 1, Orchestration 1, and Orchestration 2. I would go Harmony, Melody 1, 2. That's the order I would take the classes. But each of these teach music theory through the lens of applying it to composition. If you're looking for performance, unfortunately, I can't really help you. I'm not much of a musical performer myself. I was once a highly skilled trumpet player. through college. Haven't played trumpet in a long time because it's kind of hard to practice trumpet when you live in an apartment and have shared walls with neighbors. They don't like it. I know enough guitar and piano to compose and to do little sing-alongs and stuff. I wouldn't call myself a performer, though. I don't identify as a performer. I'm a composer. So these are not through the lens of performing. They are through the lens of composing. That's the whole little thing there. But these should help quite a bit, hopefully. Let's see here. Victoria, start simple and do short pieces. Oh, so awesome. So Vincent's awesome helping out. Thank you, Vincent. 30 seconds to 1 minute per exercise. Any specific exercise or source you can find exercise that practice the mix of theory with the instrument? Yes, Vitor, check out my classes. They have exercises. They have homework assignments you can do to apply all the theory, so that will help. Oh, awesome. Vincent is mentioning my free classes. Thank you. He has some free classes. Yes, I do. Awesome. I should have just read the comments. Yes, I do. Okay, ad hoc. Do you or how much do you use analysis of, or do you analyze other movie soundtracks? Ooh, very good question. Yes, I do analyze other film soundtracks because I love them. Just I'm a huge nerd. I don't usually sit down and look through sheet music. I know a lot of composers who do, and that's amazing. It's awesome. I would recommend doing it if you can. I mostly study by listening. That's actually, have I done anything about my process for learn by listening? Tabletop composer, learn by listening. Oh yeah, I used to have a series called Learn by Listening. Oh yeah, right here. The easiest way to study film music, no sheet music necessary. In August. How did I not forget I did that? This is the video I would recommend watching that will teach you how to analyze music just by listening to it and learn really, really cool things. This is the process I use to create templates and create different, to replicate styles and genres. Every soundtrack I've done, I've had to learn a new genre of music because the director wanted a different kind of genre than I've worked with before. So this is the process I do to learn different genres, different styles, and just kind of pick up really cool tricks. All right? Hopefully that helps. Thanks for the hints. All about semiotics and symbolism as well regarding music for storytelling. Yes, very much. But that looks cool. We'll check those. Whoa, so much stuff for free. Awesome. Yes, I do try to offer a lot of stuff for free. Because again, my own journey as a composer has been so incredibly difficult and trying, and it's even more difficult when you don't have money, which I have not had. So I would recommend, lots of free resources. If you can though, show support, become a patron, become a channel member, buy something from my bookshop, or get private lessons. I'm open to 2 more students. I have room in my schedule for 2 more students. And you can also, on the Academy, if you want to show appreciation for these incredible free resources, you can donate and make a donation to help support the creation of additional classes in the future. Let's see, all of that. Getting caught up. John Mack, welcome, John. Vincent Kubler, do you piano sketch with the final instruments in mind? No, I don't. Unless I have a specific ensemble for a project. So like right now I've got a really weird ensemble I'm working with where it's saxophone, trumpet, tenor trombone, piano, drum kit, and electric bass, which is a weird ensemble. And so I write with, if I know what I'm going to write for in mind, then yeah, I'll write for those. But typically what I'll do is when I'm sketching an idea, I'll just let the ideas come through the way I want them to. Usually it's because if I don't usually write stuff randomly like this. Usually it's quite an exhaustive process of studying a character or studying a story world or studying an emotion to make sure I have a very good idea of what my music's going to sound like before I even start writing it. If you get my textbook, you'll learn a lot more about that process, because usually if I'm writing for a soundtrack and not just doing tutorials on YouTube, I already have a really good idea of what my music's going to sound like before I even write it. I know what kind of harmony it's going to have. I know what kind of intervals the melody's going to use. I know what kind of instrumentation I'm working with. I know what kind of rhythmic ideas I'm going to work with, what key, what time signatures, tempos, all that. I have all of it figured out before I even start sketching. But right now, I'm just having some fun. I'm not worrying about any of that, and I'm just coming up with something random. Let's give a listen, shall we? Let's see what else we can do. Awesome. That's a stupid little idea, but it works. Let's expand that. Oh, got a couple more comments. Vincent, if I do sketch with a piano, it often does not translate well. I feel like working with basic ensemble patches also works well. Yes, that's entirely valid. Every composer has a different style. The reason why I always do piano sketches first, I always do piano sketches first, is with my severe ADHD, if I'm working with ensemble patches, I'm going to get sidetracked so quickly. I'm going to get frustrated that my string patches don't sound exactly the way I want them to. So I'm going to start like tweaking the continuous controller data. I'm going to start working with modulation. I'm going to start paying attention to details I shouldn't be paying attention to yet. So for me, personally, my most streamlined workflow is I always work with a piano sketch, because with a piano sketch, I don't have to worry about what instruments are doing what. I don't have to worry about whether it sounds realistic or not, because it doesn't. It sounds like a piano. And oftentimes it sounds like a piano that could not actually be played. This would not be played by a real piano player. I would not have octaves in the bass line plus chords plus a melody like this. That doesn't make sense. Two hands could not play this part. But I'm just getting my basic ideas down. Once I have my basic ideas down, and once I've gotten a nice sketch of each of the layers I want in my music, then I will go to my notation software, which I currently work with Finale. I need to move over to Dorico because Finale is no longer a thing, unfortunately. But I will orchestrate in Finale, again for the same reason. Because if I'm working with my sound libraries, I'm going to get sidetracked trying to get the exact performance out of them that I want way earlier than I should be worrying about that. So working with notation software allows me to focus specifically on my arrangement and the choices I'm making in regards to which instruments are being used, when, how, and why, what impact they have on the music. And then once I've got my sheet music figured out and I've gotten my arrangement written out, then I can worry about creating a really cool mock-up. But yeah, so that's why personally I just stick to piano sketches. Vitor says, yeah, I already have your book on Amazon wishlist, so it's in line to get it. Awesome, thank you very much. Vitor, ever played around with MuseScore? Not in a long time. I started with MuseScore. MuseScore is a free notation software, incredibly powerful for a free software, and I highly recommend everyone who uses it. Who can use it should use it. It's really cool. I love MuseScore. I have access to Finale, and I know Finale better, so that's what I work with. Let's see here. Let's just create a very simple idea, shall we? Actually, should we? Let's see. Let's do sentence structure. And sentence structure says repeat the idea. And then, so if we're going to use sentence structure to create a full piece of music, we state our idea, we state the idea again, sometimes with a little variation. We might add some variation later. But then we create a new idea. So let's speed run this one, shall we? Since that one was in A minor, let's do one in C major. That's the easy, simple way to create some variation. So let's listen to our new chord progression that I just put together using my knowledge of music theory. Awesome. So we've got a nice chord progression. Now let's do period structure, just to demonstrate what period structure is. We're going to use the same basic strategy. Pick 2 notes from the underlying chord for each chord. And then period structure says start off with one idea. Then create a different one. So we have our different idea. Then period structure says repeat the same basic idea from before. This time I'm going to make some changes to make sure, oh, don't have to. I was going to make changes to make sure it fits the new chords, but it still fits the new chords quite nicely. And then it says simply find a way to end it with our cadence. So we've got our basic melody now. So Vitor says they've been releasing amazing updates for it. Speaking about MuseScore. He even added a bunch of instrument VSTs for it and such, changed a lot with a new client app as well. Yes, I've heard amazing things about MuseScore. I've heard that it's basically professional grade at this point. So, which is again why I say, like, if you don't have to, just use MuseScore. All right. The reason why I'm looking for Dorico is Dorico has some really cool features, like being able to score to picture, that I really, really like, that MuseScore just doesn't have yet, not to my knowledge. So I'm hoping to try and get a free copy of Dorico. I reached out to Steinberg. I got some cool free stuff recently that I'm going to be showing you guys off, some plugins and such that I'm going to be showing off and kind of exploring with you guys in the future streams once I got my full computer back up. But yeah, I'm hoping for Dorico. I'm hoping for an upgrade to Cubase and Dorico. I reached out to them saying, hey, want to collaborate on a video? Haven't heard back yet. Fingers crossed. We'll see. Hey, Flim Flammery, welcome, my friend. All right, let's try very quickly. Just creating some Let's speed that up a little bit, shall we? Let's try those 8 notes. Let's create something a little more heroic sounding. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. Sorry about that. My friend always calls on his way back home from work. He never learns, though. I keep telling him, hey, dude, I work. I do live streams on Friday at this time. But he always calls. Now I lost my train of thought. Where was I? Let's try. Let's bring these back down. We won't worry about voice leading right now. Now let's bring those back up. They're not that close, we're fine. And then, because period structure, which again is a grammatical structure within music, states to repeat the same idea. And Then we need to find our cadence, which is just a simple way to end it. All right, so we've got our new idea. Then we are going to simply repeat the same original idea. And voila, we got A-A-B-A, another structure in music. And it's a stupid, silly little sketch. Nothing impressive. Certainly not my favorite thing I've ever written, but it works. Let's add a 2-bar intro, shall we? And all we're going to do, just copy and paste these. We'll just do the first 2 chords for our intro. Oops, wrong button. Oh, flammery. Nothing. It's just doodling around. That's all I'm doing. I'm not writing anything specific. I'm taking a break from my current soundtracks just to do something stupid and fun. Ooh, let's smooth out that transition. Let's do a very simple thing we could do. Let's try this. Does this clash with anything? So that would clash with the E. So let's bring that down. There we go, much smoother transition. And then let's turn this. Let's try this. Oh, we got an A in the bass. So what chord is this? What chord would this be with an A? It would technically be a G major 9 with the 9 in the bass. I like that. I'm not going to worry about turning it to a dominant 7. I think it sounds decent this way. Let's smooth that transition a little bit, though. I like the idea of having a nice little flourish. Why doesn't that sound as good as it used to? That's why, because I was re-articulating and that was emphasizing the dissonance. There we go, much smoother. Let's smooth this out. Let's try raising this an octave, shall we? No, I don't like that. Don't like raising that an octave. It's fine. This needs to be moved over slightly. Don't know how that happened. What's going on here? What's going on? Why is everything like off by a fraction of a beat? Let's do this. Let's fix that. Now let's smooth out this transition between here and there, shall we? So again, if you're just joining, I'm just having fun doodling around a little bit, creating a stupid little piano sketch. If you have questions for me about music theory, film composing, anything like that, pop it in the comments. I'm happy to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Let's see here. Okay, Vitor had to bounce. So I'm glad you were able to make it, my friend. Awesome to have caught you live. Thanks for the great work. We'll check your basics of music theory stuff soon. Awesome. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the free classes. Thanks a lot for the tips and chat, everyone. Catch you next time. Yes, hopefully you can make it again sometime, Vitor. Vincent, I don't think I would ever be able to compose. Vitor Guerrero, I don't think I could ever be able to compose using proper notation. Props to you if you want to try something else as well. Vincent, my textbook teaches you how to use notation. Hint, hint. I might do a class at some point about notation. The next class I do is going to either be about synths, about mixing, or about music notation. We'll see. The next free class, I should say. Band have some decent VSTs played around with, and awesome. Awesome, you guys are sharing some good resources. Nice. Flim Flammery, random music theory question. How can I smoothly voice lead seventh chords with triads? Excellent choice, my friend. This is again something that I cover in both my free classes and in my textbook. The simplest way to take a C major, like we'll just do an example. Say, and then you are doing, let's say, like a D minor triad, and you want to voice lead this smoothly. There are a couple different ways. One is you can just drop that C from the top chord, since you're going to have a bass line anyway, and just do the other notes as if they were a triad and voice lead that way. That's one strategy. Another strategy is to remove the fifth from the chord, because the fifth, so add the root, skip the second note, add the third, skip the fourth, add the fifth. The fifth is the least important here. In terms of producing color, if we mute that, it doesn't really contribute to the quality of the chord. The third, so the root names the chord. The third tells us what type it is, major or minor. And the seventh helps us know what kind of seventh chord it is in terms of a minor seventh. So C major, no, this would be a major seventh, C major seventh. If this changes, it becomes a C major minor seventh. If this changes, it becomes a C, not major minor seventh, it becomes a C dominant. If this moves down, it becomes a C minor major seventh. So the third, seventh, and root are the most important, leaving the fifth out as the odd man out, and you can then voice lead these, as would normally be seen. And again, those are the simplest ways to do it. It's just to make sure that you're voice leading the same number of notes into one chord or another. One, drop the root and just keep it in the bass line and voice lead the upper voices. Or two, you can get rid of the fifth. I have a couple other strategies I cover in my textbook and my free classes. So yeah, if you want to, check them out. My phone is blowing up. Sorry, give me a second. Make sure there's no emergency or anything going on. Nope. Oh, good. We're good. So what were we doing? I wanted to transition more smoothly between these two. Let's see here. Let's start by approaching the voice leading a bit more smoothly. That helps. Actually, let's see if that just fixes it. Not quite, because we've got a bass line. That's right. So let's try adding voices gradually. We'll do a G. And then we'll do... Let's try that. good. All right, let's take these chords, drop the velocity a bit, drop the melody velocity a little. And there we go. A nice full little sketch. Let's listen to the whole thing, shall we? And then if there are any questions about music theory, anything you guys want to learn, let me know. We'll listen to this. If I have questions to answer, I will stick around. If not, I think I'm going to call it. I think I'm going to. There's a beautiful sunny day in Michigan, which is unexpected in December. So I want to go enjoy some of the sunshine before it gets dark. But again, if you got questions, pop them in the comments. I will be happy to stay around. All right? I could still smooth that out a little bit, but I'm fine. I don't actually plan on doing anything with this tune. You know what? I just got an idea. I am gonna do something with this next week. Wait, what is next week? Is next week the last stream of the month? Is next week Christmas? What's going on? I can't pull up my calendar on that screen. Let's try this screen. There we go. No, yeah, awesome. So next week is just a regular stream. So next week I'm going to take this sketch. That's the plan. Is I will take this sketch. I'm going to improve it and turn it into a piece I can actually be proud of. That's the plan. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make it more interesting. Any comments? Any questions? Flimflammery, another question. In your book, you talk about Hans chords. Are those ever used, or are they to be avoided? Ah, excellent. So, good question. There seems to be a little bit of confusion. So there isn't a Hans chord. There are just Hans notes. So Hans stands for harmonic avoidance note. And this comes from the chapter on extended chords. So an extended chord, you have your original triads, which you create by adding a note from your scale, skipping the second note in your scale, adding the third, skipping the fourth, adding the fifth. You get a nice triad. Now, if you continue this pattern of skip, add, you get a seventh. Then what happens if you add another one, the ninth? All right, let's lower the velocity a little bit. Then what happens if you go another one? Ooh, suddenly it sounds a little crunchy. The 11th doesn't sound quite as nice there. That is because the 11th is a harmonic avoidance note. It has a minor second with the third. So if you notice each of these notes, if I drop them, they're each of the skipped tones from before. We skipped the 2, but now the 2 becomes the 9. We skipped the 4, which now becomes the 11. Now, typically, if you like the way this sounds, that's fine. You can use it. But typically, harmonic avoidance notes like this F, because when you drop it, it forms a minor second. There's no note. There's no space between E and F on a keyboard. It just goes E and then F, or E and then F. There's no notes in between. It would typically be a harmonic avoidance note. If this was an F sharp, it would be a tension, a note that can be used. But again, it becomes a matter of personal taste. Typically, harmonics avoidance notes are, as the name implied, avoided, especially if you're not using the full spelling. So if we remove the seventh, for example, creates a super crunchy quality because, again, that dissonant interval, super dissonant interval. But then here, if we add skip G, add A, this is attention because there is a space. There is the G sharp A flat in between the two, so it can work. If you want a significantly less rushed explanation that might actually make more sense to you, let's see here, especially when they're drilled. You want to learn more about creating pretty chords like that, and you want one that makes you want something that makes a little more sense and not just my end of the stream ramblings where I'm very warm and very tired. Again, Tabletop Composer, jazz chords. This video, less than 2 minutes, early jazz, constant structure. No, that's the wrong one. This one works. Where's the jazz chords? Oh, right here. Oh, they added it to the AI thing. Yeah, so awesome. They used me for the AI thing. That's cool. Jazz chords quick theory. Click on this video. Less than 3 minutes, and it'll explain all of this in much better detail. Much less feverish. Lots of caffeine in my system. But hopefully that helps. I am going to call it here, my friends, I think. So thank you very much to everybody who stopped by the stream. I hope you learned some stuff. I hope it was useful. I hope it was fun. It was really cool for me to see so many people stop by. Thank you again. Don't forget to like the stream. Don't forget to share it with your friends, or at least just click the share button and then hit the copy link. Doesn't matter if you actually post it somewhere. YouTube just loves to see that people copy the link. Check out my website for free classes, free resources, free blog posts, and for really cool stuff like my textbook. All right, really cool stuff. It's all on sale for the holidays. Check it out. Support me if you'd like. That's very helpful. But yeah. Have a nice day, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.